welcome to my kitchen and my mixing bowl. My name is Luann Pygott and I am making Sunday dinner tonight. And so this is what I'm making, Crockpot chicken and dumplings. Now this is not made from scratch dumplings. This is a little easier and simpler to make. And that's actually already cooking here. I've got that going. There's my crock pot. And then I also have some honey butter peas and carrots. I've never made any of these recipes. That's another crock pot recipe. And then I'm going to make this cake. That's what I'm getting ready to do now, is make a cinnamon apple cake. Another one I have never made. Now this recipe is already cut down. Hold on here. I gotta secure this phone to my stand. Forgot to do that. There we go. I'm trying not to have any tipsy things going on here. But it's already a one single layer cake, perfect for 2 people, which this is for me and my mother. So what we're going to do is preheat our oven to 350, which we've done, and we're going to lightly grease a 9-inch pan. It's a 9-inch round pan. Now they have 8-inch and 9-inch. I happen to have both because I have some cakes that say 8-inch and some cakes that say 9-inch, and it's easier to follow the directions for baking time if you do what they say. So that's a 9-inch round cake pan. If you get the ones like this that are straight on the edges, you don't get the angled cake ones. You can get these even at Walmart. You can get them at Michael's craft stores. They're made by Wilton or something similar to that. But see how they're straight edged? They aren't angled. And they're really good if you're making layer cakes and you don't have to have layers that don't fit together. But this isn't a layer cake, and this is like a snack cake. It doesn't even have icing. You could probably sprinkle powdered sugar on it. Here, let me show you the picture of this cake. There. Doesn't that look yummy? Cinnamon and apples. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to mix together 2 eggs and a cup of oil. Okay, 2, right? It's 2 eggs. Yep, 2 eggs. Okay, so I have 2 eggs, and these eggs I have left out for about an hour or so they're room temperature, which they say is really what you're supposed to do with eggs. So let me get a little bowl here to crack my egg into the little bowl. And then we're going to add my little egg right in there. We've got one more. One more egg. I always do them in the little bowl first, make sure there's no shell, to make sure it's a good egg. Here's my other little egg. Okay, there's 2 eggs. And a cup of oil. So this is canola oil. It says vegetable oil. You can use whatever oil you like to use. A cup of oil. So this is an oil cake, which means this is going, I'm just going to drape that on there to drain. I come up with my own little ideas. Just draining the oil so I get it all. Oil cakes are really, really, really moist. They will not be dry. That's why it doesn't need icing, because it's going to be so moist. Okay, so let's make sure I got that all dripped in there. Looks like we do. Move that over to the sink. Okay, so then it says we're going to mix the eggs and the oil. Okay, so first we're going to just mix those. Put that on slow because that's going to slosh everywhere otherwise. Then we're going to add cinnamon, white and brown sugar, and vanilla. Do the vanilla first because it's the other liquid, and it is going to use a teaspoon of vanilla. So here's my vanilla. I have the Serious Baker size of vanilla, and this is not vanilla artificially flavored vanilla. That stuff's bitter. This is real vanilla. It is worth real vanilla. So a teaspoon of real vanilla. I know you can't see what I'm doing. Here you go. There you go. Add vanilla. Then we're going to add, let me see. This is a new recipe, so that's why I kind of don't know what I'm doing. White sugar. Okay, the white sugar you're going to add is a 1/2 cup of sugar. So let me get that. My sugar has gotten damp. It's kind of lumpy. All right, there's 1/2 cup of white sugar. Now, this actually calls for dark brown sugar. I don't have a lot of recipes to use dark brown sugar. I had to go buy some dark brown sugar. All right, so the dark brown sugar is a cup of dark brown sugar. That's a lot of dark brown sugar. So I have a brand new box. I don't have much room to show you stuff here the way I've got this set up today. Let me open this up. In the bag. And then I'm going to get a spoon. Here, let's just do this. Otherwise, you're going to be bored to death. Here we go. There's my measuring cup. And I'm going to put the dark brown sugar in there. Now, to measure dark brown sugar, you press it into the container. Even if it doesn't say, brown sugar is always measured pressed in. And the other sugars are not. Brown sugar, you smash it in. That's just how you measure brown sugar. The standard measurement. And this is dark brown sugar. Now, I think if you don't have dark brown sugar, you can use light brown sugar. It'll probably be perfectly fine. But this will just give it a whole lot more rich molasses flavor, because that's how you get brown sugar, is they add molasses to white sugar. And the darker brown sugar just has more molasses in it, but that gives it a really rich taste. It's going to be really good with apples. And this only actually has one apple in it, this cake. Okay, I'm pressing this down, just about there. That'll probably do it. Fit into the cup. Okay, so there we go. Let's go back to our bowl. 1 cup of dark brown sugar. I'm just verifying it before I dump it in. Okay, thump, one big old lump. And then it's going to need cinnamon. Cinnamon, this actually uses a tablespoon of cinnamon, I think. Where are you? Yes, a tablespoon of cinnamon. Now, I have another cake that uses a tablespoon of cinnamon, but it's a 2-layer cake. This is going to be some serious cinnamon. I love cinnamon. Okay, so I've got a tablespoon of cinnamon here. If you can't find your tablespoon measure, you can put 3 teaspoons in. It's the exact same amount. Okay, there we go. So that was cinnamon, white and brown sugars, and vanilla mixed till combined. Okay, here we go. This is an easy kind of mix it all together cake. Very simple. And this will be the first time I've ever made it, so I'm just hoping it's good, but boy, does it look good. Look, it looks like chocolate, but it's not. That's cinnamon and brown sugar. Okay, now we're going to add flour. It has 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now let me show you my flour. This is a little trick to do with flour. You don't ever have to sift flour. It doesn't say sift it, but you do want to do this. Take your whisk and in your flour and just stir your flour. What that does is it gets your flour lightened so it is not packed down, because as flour sits in your cabinet, it packs itself tightly into the container, and then you have tightly packed flour. And you don't want to measure flour like that, because then you get too heavy of a flour. So you want to lighten it. That's what sifting does. But it's a lot of work and a big mess to sift. So if you just stir it with a whisk, it's the same thing. Okay, so then I just did that. So we're going to have 2 cups of flour. And I'm also going to take a knife to level off our flour, because you really don't want too much flour. So picking up 1 cup, take the knife, make sure we get it all filled here. Level it off. There's 1 cup of flour. I'm putting that in the bowl. And this doesn't have milk or anything in it. It just has oil and egg and all of this. So now we're going to do it again. Kind of tap that in so it covers the whole thing. Level it off. Cup 2 of flour into our bowl. Okay, let me put this back here. There is our flour. Okay, so then we're going to add salt. So it calls for half a teaspoon of salt. So I have rice in my salt, so I have to put it through this strainer. That's to keep it from getting damp. See the little grains of rice in there? Old Florida trick. So your salt doesn't get damp. Okay, so there's the salt. Then we're going to have baking soda. Baking soda is also half of a teaspoon. And that is that one. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. Dump that in. Then it's baking powder, so you're going to use half a teaspoon of baking powder. That's this one. Baking powder. Measure that. Half a teaspoon baking powder. Okay, so flour, salt, baking soda, and baking powder mix until thoroughly incorporated and put in the apples. That's it. Boy, this is a simple cake. So let me mix that. Start out slow unless you want a flour bath. Wow, look at that. That looks like ginger cookies or something. Look how yummy that looks. Ooh, it's an oozy batter. Okay, so now we're going to add what it calls for the apple. It says 1 large apple peeled and chopped. Okay, so whenever I cook with apples, I always use Granny Smith because they hold up. They don't turn to mush. And it just needs 1 large apple. So I got 1 large apple. Here we go. There's my 1 large apple. So then I'm going to take the 1 large apple and I'm going to core. I have an apple core. So much easier. You just take it and I think I went crooked. Well, let's go to the bottom then. It went in its own direction. There we go. It's fighting me here. Come on, there it goes. All the way through. Maybe it isn't easier to do it this way. Oh yeah, it's all the way through. Okay, there's our core. Look at that. All right, let me put that over here. Then I'm going to peel. I'm going to get some paper towels here so I got somewhere to put this peeling. Just go around. Peel it. Now you can get an apple peeler if you got an apple peeler. Fancy little apple peeler, you can do that. But it's just 1 apple, so it's not like it's going to take all day. I got all kind of bits and pieces coming here. There we go. You can peel the apple first and then core it if you want. This has a couple little brown spots on it, so I'm just going to cut that off. I notice it has a bruised spot right here too. I didn't see that. Probably had it in the store and I missed it. It's okay. Just cut off the brown spots. So this is, if you can get a bag of Granny Smith apples, they're smaller, but if you buy them individually, you get these giant ones. Just go round and round. You know, they say if you keep the peeling intact, somebody told me this when I was a kid, keep the peeling intact and then take it in your hand and throw it behind you over your shoulder. And then whatever letter it looks like when it lands on the floor, that will be the first letter of your husband's name. You want to try that if you're not married? Take you an apple peel, but you have to do it in one big peel. You can't break it. This one's breaking. Take it and throw it behind you over your shoulder and let it land on the floor. And if it takes the shape of a letter, that's supposed to be the first letter of your future husband's name. You ever heard that crazy story? I don't remember who told me that now. Okay, so then I'm just going to cut this down. And see, I still got get a little bit of this core out here. Got a little bit of where the seeds were in there. So I just cut that out. But I got most of it out. I'll just cut it in half again and then slice that out. Kind of just go at it both ways. They meet and then you take that center out. And then we're just going to chop this into chunks, and I guess you can just do whatever size you want because it doesn't say. Now, the recipe, by the way, also tells you can put in half a cup of walnuts. I don't like nuts, so I don't put walnuts in. If you like nuts, put half a cup of walnuts in. Chopped walnuts. But I am not a nut eater, so I don't do that. Okay, here we go. Just drop those in. Chop up some more. I only have this little cutting board out here. Uh-oh. I've got my other cutting board over there for something else. A little cat sneaking in here trying to figure out what I'm doing. And there's not any special way to cut this. Just cut it however you want. And I guess you can cut it however big you want to. Doesn't say. This says cut it. Just chop. So I'm a chopping. Okay. One more. This is a really big apple, so it's going to have a lot of nice apple in it, which is really good. I love apple. All right, there we go. Let's go back to our mix here. Add that in and stir it again. Oh, it threw a piece at me, hit me in the chin. Okay, there is our batter and just chunks of apple hanging out in there, huh? Okay, so now we're going to, oh, it's almost time. I got something else I have to stop here and do in a minute with my chicken and dumplings. But we got this part pretty well done, so that's good. I'm just taking all this over here. Making all kinds of racket. Okay, what I'm going to have to do now is tend to my chicken and dumplings real quick. So let me put up all this other stuff. So our cake is done. It just has to go in the pan. And what it is going to do here is we're going to take this pan, our cake pan, and it says to grease your pan. So I'm going to grease the pan. I'm just going to spray some cooking spray in there, non-stick spray. And this is what I always do with cake. Take some parchment paper or wax paper. This is a sheet, you know, square sheet. And then you're going to fold it in fourths. And then you're going to take that top corner. Let me go and turn that off. I'll just do that in a minute. And you just keep folding it here like this. And folding it a couple times like that. Then you're going to take some scissors. And you're going to measure from the middle of your pan to the edge. And then you're going to cut like that. Then you undo it. And it should fit in your pan. Ta-da! This means this cake will come right out. Now that's actually a little too big. Let's cut it just a little more. So I don't have to worry about it sticking. I am past messing with cakes that stick. Oh, and that also means my other one's done. I got 2 crock pots going here. And I'll show you both of them. Everything it wants. Okay, here we go. There's that. I'm going to go ahead and turn that one off so it doesn't overcook. There we go. There, my pan is ready. Now we shall take our bowl of batter here. Oh, so now that I've got that in there, I'm going to spray it again. Spray the edges, spray the bottom. So you spray it to start, that gets your paper to stick. And then when you put the paper in there, you spray it again. Because you don't want the paper to stick either. Ow, I'm banging my arm. All right, now, I'm going to take the batter. This is a thick batter. Make a good cake. And it'll be moist because of the oil. Ooh, it looks so good. Such a nice dark cake. I cannot wait to try this one because I bet this cinnamon apple cake with brown sugar, this is going to make the house smell so good. And I can only eat like a little bite of this because I don't want to gain weight. I want to continue to lose weight, so I have to do little pieces. But that's okay, at least I still have some. Okay, putting that in there. I'm just trying to get all of it off the beater. It's real sticky, I'll tell you that. Real sticky. Probably means it's going to be real good. Okay, let me put all this down. Get that off my hands. Okay, then we're going to put this in the pan. Now look how thick this is. I don't even think it's going to pour. Apparently this is how it's supposed to be. We'll find out, won't we? Okay, we're done. If we have a cake or we have a rock. I'll say I've not made this before. We'll find out. Okay, so we're going to put this in here. Scrape it out with our spatula. Or our rubber scraper. silicone scraper it actually is. Get that up out of there. That's a thick batter. I would have thought with that oil it'd have been runnier, but it is not. That's okay though. Let's make sure I did it right. 2 cups of flour, 1 large apple, 1 cup of oil, 1 cup of dark brown sugar, half a cup of granulated sugar. I didn't do the half a cup of walnuts, 2 eggs, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, half a teaspoon baking powder, half a teaspoon baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to spread it a little bit. It's interesting that the apples stick out so well, but they will soften up as they cook, of course. Okay, so let's get that out of there. I mean, seriously, look at this. That's a batter. Okay. I think you could glue something with this. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to put this in the oven. And it says this will take 45 minutes. Well, with it this thick, I can believe that. So let's put it in there. I am going to take a peek at it at 30 minutes, though, just because I want to make sure it's okay. So in we go to the oven. Take a peek at 30 minutes. But I'm sure it takes 45 with that dense of a cake. All right, so now let's finish up our other work. Our other rest of our dinner. So now we're going to turn our attention to this right here, the Crockpot. This is a Crockpot chicken and dumplings. Now they are not homemade dumplings. These are going to be made with canned biscuit. I can make them homemade. I've done that before, but I wanted to try something easy and something different. So that's hot. So let me get, that's a glass lid. So this will be the first time I've opened this. This has been cooking for 3 hours on high. So in the crock pot. So it's got 4 chicken breasts. It's got 2 cans of cream and chicken soup, 1 can of chicken broth, and it has some salt, pepper, and parsley. It also has a chopped up stalk of celery, 2 small carrots chopped up, and half an onion. Okay, that's what's in there. Now what you do at this point is it says to take out your chicken and chop the chicken. Or shred it. You don't chop it. You shred it. So let me... Boy, that smells good. Oh, man. All right, so let's go ahead and find my chicken in here. Here's my chicken. Here's a piece. This chicken, look at this thing, how big this one is. And then the other ones are teeny tiny. I don't think they chopped this one very well. That's hilarious. Okay, so I'm just putting this on a cutting board. There's 4 pieces. That's 1. Here's 2. That smells so good. It almost smells more like chicken soup than it does chicken and dumplings. But that's okay. It'll just be something different. There's piece number 3. There's 1 more in here. There he is. Piece number 4. Okay, so I'm going to shred it. And then we're going to put it back in there. Okay, so here we go. On my board. I got to put this down somewhere. Hold on. Here's a napkin. I'm going to take 2 forks. And I'm just going to pull this chicken apart, which is so tender it is ridiculous. Wow. So that was 3 hours on high in the crock pot. Let's do the big piece last. Do the little, that is a piece of fat, so let's take that off. Put that over there out of the way. Shred our chicken. You can do this as big or as small as you want, but it's pretty easy to do. Just take 2 forks, pull it apart. I think there's a piece of gristle right there, so let's get that also. So if you just see something you don't want in there, you don't take it out. This piece here, this one is very, very tender. Look at that, falls apart. And the Jolly Green Giant piece of chicken. These aren't as tender. I think it's because they're bigger, but it's going to cook another hour, so it'll get tender. It is tender, but not as fall apart as those others were. I think it's just because it's a fatter piece of chicken. So you can just kind of push on it with the fork, pull it into pieces. It doesn't take terribly long. It's going to be so good. I'm just kind of pulling. Uh-oh. I'm losing pieces now. Doesn't want to pull right there. Like I say, that'll get more tender in the next hour. It's just because it's so big. I don't usually have a piece of chicken this big. in the package of chicken, but this had the biggest piece of chicken I'd ever seen. I thought, well, I gotta cook it. Let's go ahead and put it in there. So I did. Okay, here we are. Pretty well done now. Now I'm going to take all this chicken. And I'm going to just put it back in. Let me turn this around here. Can you see? Oh, not quite. Now you can see. Okay, I'm just going to put it back in there. Push it off my cutting board, and I had a piece just escape. Move my cutting board. I love crock pots. Put everything in there and it does all the work. Okay, there, stir it. Now the other thing you're going to add in here is, it's about 3/4 of a cup of peas. It said half a can, but these are not canned peas. They're frozen. So I tried to get like what would be half a can of peas. What was it I wrote it was? It's 3/4 of a cup plus a tablespoon if you want to be that exact. So then you stir that in. Now you don't have to put the vegetables in there at all if you don't want to, but I think it's going to be good. Then, why don't you put that in there? Okay, remove the chicken and shred. We're going to add it back in with the, well, this says you can add some crumbled bacon too. I am not running chicken and dumplings with bacon. Sorry, I don't like bacon. I know I'm the only person that doesn't like bacon. I don't like the taste of smoke. So, you're going to then take your canned biscuits and you're going to break them into 3 pieces or so, and you're going to drop it on top, and then you're going to cook it on high for another hour. So, it says to use flaky biscuits. So I got me a can of flaky biscuits. Now these aren't going to be the rolled out dumplings. They're going to be more like the biscuity type dumpling. They're going to be like they're not going to be the flat dumplings. I love the flat dumplings, but I like these too. This gives me a variety. Okay, so I'm going to open this can and we're going to hope it doesn't explode. Okay, I'm peeling the can. Are you scared? Here's my can. Oh! Okay. I didn't do that. I didn't do it. Yep, it's exploded and it scared me, but I didn't drop it. Okay. I hate these things. Okay. Take the biscuit, break it into a couple, just whatever, pieces. Put it on top. It said 3 pieces, but I'm breaking this into about 5 pieces. I don't want dumplings so big I can't put it in my mouth. Come on, let's don't be silly. Okay, so then let's just break a piece off, put it in, put it on top. Like I said, these aren't going to be flat rolled dumplings. These are going to be puffier, biscuity dumplings. Different kind. But I like both kinds, so sometimes I do the flat rolled ones, and I've never made it with these biscuits before, but this is something new. So you just put the whole can in here, just pull the dough apart, put it on top. Oh, that one escaped. Everything's wanting to jump out of this pan. Put it on top. It's another one. I don't know why this one's fatter than the other ones were. Wouldn't you think they'd be the same thickness in there? And then I'm going to show you what I have in this other crock pot. Now this is my regular size crock pot, kind of a big crock pot. And then I have a small crock pot over here. And this recipe I actually cut in half. So what does that have in it? So what you put in it, in the other one, is it's called honey butter peas and carrots. So what you do, let's see, where's my recipe? You put in, now I've only got half this amount, but you use a pound of carrots, you peel them and slice them, and then you put, chop up a large onion. You add a 1/4 cup of water, a 1/4 cup of butter, cubed, and a 1/4 cup of honey. Then you put it all in there, and you can also add 4 garlic cloves if you want, but I don't want garlic, so I didn't put any garlic. But then you add a teaspoon of dried marjoram, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of white pepper. So then you cook that on low for 5 hours. So I did that already. Then after the 5 hours, you add, this is going to have so many dumplings. Oh my word. It's so much. I'm like, this is going to be an awful lot. I'm glad I put it in this big crock pot. Anybody want to come for dinner? Because Mom and I aren't going to be able to eat all this. This is a lot more than I thought it would be, but that's okay. We can freeze it. We can have leftovers. All right, so there you go. Now it is still on high. Oh, look at here. There's still a piece in there. He's hiding. I wondered why that last biscuit was so skinny. It peeled apart. That's why. Okay, put it in. I'm going to set the timer for another hour. Put on my lid. Cook it on high for 1 more hour. There's that lid. I like that glass lid. Okay. Timer. 1 hour. Oh, that was 1 minute. That's not going to work at all. That's not going to be done. Well, I got to get that to stop. I don't know how to stop it. Okay, we'll let it go for a minute. Then I'm going to reset it. Let me throw this away. I know there's a way to stop it, and I can't remember how. Okay. So let me show you what else I have here in this other crock pot. Let me move you over here. In my little crock pot. This one has some plastic. Okay, so after you cook that for 5 hours, then you add peas. This one, this one, so you take a package, a 16-ounce package of frozen peas, and then you add that in and you cook it for, it said 15 to 25 minutes also on low. So look at there. It's honey, butter, peas, and carrots, and it's also got onions. And I have never tasted these before. Okay, there's my minute. Now let's do 59 more minutes. Okay, I want to taste these peas and carrots because I have not ever made this before in a crock pot. I just think with the crock pot, that honey butter is going to have gotten in there real well. I want a little salt. Hold on. Yes, I know I haven't tasted yet, but I have never tasted a thing yet in my life I didn't have to add more salt to. Okay, here we go. I got to let it cool. Peas and carrots, little onions, honey butter. Smells so good. Kind of cooking, it almost reminded me a little bit of the smell of baked beans. I'm like, I smell baked beans. Why do I smell baked beans? I'm not cooking baked beans. Because of the honey. I only ate a carrot. It's too hot. That's pretty good. Peas and carrots. Oh, hot. Okay, there we go. Well, I will put pictures of this in my comments and also put the recipes if you're interested in the recipes and let you know how everything turned out. So we are all done now, and I hope you have a good evening and make something yummy for Sunday dinner. Bye!